Master Brand, welcome to Ealdormere at Home, your kingdom Chatelaine, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say about the office of the kingdom Chatelaine. So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
Sure. So somebody named Isabel might have convinced me to start doing some demos at Comic-Cons and Fan Expos a few years ago. Yeah, you. And I applied for Kingdom Chatelaine. And I jumped into the role at Coronation with all these great plans of going to Comic-Cons and Fan Expos and running newcomers corners at events. And we're not doing that right now. But generally speaking, the Kingdom Chatelaine has been responsible for herding cats, which are the local Chatelaines. But Chatelaine is a tough job. Local Chatelaines are kind of made to make up their own job. So I'm taking a slightly different tack on it. I'm trying to build structure so that new Chatelaines in local groups have something to market the SCA. They have some guidance on, this is what new people think is awesome. This will make newcomers think we're weird. In a bad way, and slowly build structure. So one of the things that we've been doing, we had a newcomers page 2-3 years ago on the Kingdom website, and I think it's still there, and it is a wall of text. And when we joined in the 80s, we'd get the Known World Handbook and the Newcomer's Guide to the Midrealm, and it was this little stapled booklet of 16 pages, and it was exciting. But people don't read 16 pages on their phones anymore. The world has changed. The method of which we need to explain the SCA needs to be smaller. So we set up the framework for a new newcomers page, which is ealdormere.ca/new. And the idea is it's a filter to explain the rest of the website or give links to things that explain things. So we have an article on there about bringing your kids to events. And it's a very simple 300 words, not a wall of text. This is what needs to be done. Here's a general overview. And here are links to the complicated things with all our weird jargon, but here's a translation. And the main page has the video of the Rick Mercer report where they came and saw the SCA in Ottawa. It is a brilliant way to introduce people to the SCA that were historical and were fun. And explain things in common language. And Rick Mercer is getting shot with a Nerf gun, and people are hitting Rick Mercer's got a GoPro on his helmet. That's approachable. That is a brilliant video. So we embedded that on the newcomer main page, and we have a calendar of events, and then we have on the side, are you interested in fighting? Are you interested in archery? Are you interested in fencing? And we're slowly writing those articles. And what we're trying to do is get people who are really excited about archery to write an archery article and get some pictures or a video up. And we're working on this organically. And the other thing we put up is an FAQ to explain the basic stuff. Because the problem is, you and I have been in the SCA for years. We sometimes forget what it's like to be new. I remember joining the SCA and people are like, oh, we have an event in Petria Thule. Where's Petria Thule? Oh, that's Peterborough. Okay, Peterborough. Okay, and then we're going to go to there's a meeting at Efferwick. Where's Efferwick? Like every group had 2 names. Everybody had 2 names. It was incredibly dense and hard to jump into the SCA and understand things. And at my first meeting, they said, we need a Persuivant. And I said, what's a Persuivant? And they went, you. So I got sucked into a canton office because in Brunagh, where I joined, they had a time-honored tradition of everyone else takes one step back, leaving you at the front. So the important thing is making the SCA accessible, cutting down on the jargon, making it not intimidating, talking about the fun things, and getting people hooked and getting them involved. A lot of new people come out, they get the loner garb, they come to the first event, and everybody's running around and they're doing everything. And that's awesome. But if they are just passive spectators, they don't get sucked in. If we can get someone serving at a feast or helping at Troll or talking to some of the fighters or holding a spirit court, that's what gets people involved, because then they make friends. And the reason people stay in the SCA is the 10,000 friends you didn't know you had. we're not here for the super historical reenactment. You know, our buttons don't have to be perfect. You know, we could, you know, our new person could be, we had a guy in Brno, 14-year-old kid named Thorgrim, and he never had period shoes. He had these high tops, and we called him Thorgrim No Boots. And it didn't matter. That's a perfect example of what a new person should do. They shouldn't feel stressed that they don't have perfectly period medieval boots. A tunic and come on in. So the idea of the Kingdom Chatelaine is to build, to get back to your question, is to build structure to help local chatelaines have a website where, you know, somebody says, I want to know about archery. Oh, well, let's go to ealdormere.ca/new/archery. Here's some basic stuff, or here's a link to some YouTube videos, and we're not limited to text. We can have videos, we can have hyperlinks to research, to handbooks, but there's so much information in the SCA. We want to filter it and make it, here's a couple things to get you going, don't sweat it. So that's the job of the Kingdom Chatelaine currently.
So if somebody wanted to maybe help with some of those newcomer pages, how would they contact you to do that?
Awesome. The easiest way is to connect with me on Facebook. We're doing a lot of the work on Facebook, Ealdormere Chatelaine. There's also ealdormere.calarchery.html, or just say, hey Brand, on the Ealdormere Facebook page. We are doing things. The other thing that we're doing a little differently is local groups often appoint a chatelaine, but we have these awesome people floating around the kingdom who are really good at demos. So we're starting to do chatelaines at large. So if somebody wants to be a chatelaine who's experienced in the SCA and they're excited, come on in. You can't have too many people on the welcome wagon. Or if somebody is really passionate about archery or pottery or anything and they want to write an article, reach on out. The important thing is 300 to 500 words. Make it fun, make it simple. Don't use a lot of jargon, and yeah, we'll take anything you got.
Wonderful. So you talked about like recruitment and stuff. What are the different ways that chatelaines do recruitment in Ealdormere?
Okay, so we can do demos, and demos are great. The important thing is to look at why we do demos. You know, in years gone by, we would send 12 people to a university to do a Clubs Day demo, and we'd come out with maybe 2 people, and those 2 people might come to 2 or 3 meetings and then stop. So we took all this effort, and we didn't get a huge end result. And I'm saying that because I run conference, convention booths for a business in real life. When we did Fan Expo in Toronto, we sent 6 people into a room with 30,000 people. And we got people, and it was a room full of people who like dressing up in funny costumes and have disposable incomes and like traveling. There are people. So that's an easy audience. We can do demos for a couple reasons. We can do educational demos for schools where we're helping out the community and acting as an educational organization, which we should do. We can do demos for recruitment where there are tons of people who would love to put on armor and hit each other with sticks. They just don't know it yet. So putting ourselves in the right environment for the right people and advertising the right things. So when we did Hamilton Comic-Con, we had people hitting each other with sticks and marching around, and we did a processional through the vendor floor with the vendor, and people are like, what's that? And we made friends with the Doctor Who Society next door. People were automatically interested. If you go to do a university demo, you have to gear it more towards history and research, and you need to know your audience. There can also be social media outreach. We have this great thing called the interweb, and there's a lot of opportunity for people to see our community. If you get a chance to talk to a newcomer, it's really hard to capture the sense of community we have. There's this video, Britannica's had this video, Welcome Home, and it was professionally produced by a guy in Colyne. And it is one of the few videos that captures the community. There's a guy kneeling, and the Queen's making him his champion for the day, and he's all verklempt. This big burly grown man with this mountain beard is getting all verklempt, and his lady is beside her, and she's getting verklempt. That is an awesome moment captured on film, and people need to know the community is what makes us awesome. So you
Really
can't
is.
capture that in 10 minutes with a newcomer. You just can't. So if you can, so one of the things we did at Fan Expo, people would come by and this looks like a lot of fun. Awesome. Where are you from? I'm from Efferwick. Get out your phone. We're going to sign you up to the Efferwick Facebook group right now. And in pre-COVID times, there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of community. Hey, we're organizing a trip to this museum. Hey, we're going to be making garb at this person's house. And then they're on social media and they get this constant feed of community. It is all about the events, but it's also about the people working together between the events. And the other thing Chatelaines can do, which we're gonna do when we can have events again, is have a newcomers corner. One of the things when I first joined is I was really hyper, more than I am now, way more than I am now. I've calmed down. You ask Roak. Roak can tell you, so can Arnora. I have calmed down a lot, but I would be like, can you explain this to me? Why is that person wearing a green belt? Who's that? What's going on? What does wassail mean? I don't understand any of this. And I had some really patient people who would explain it all. We need that opportunity for new people. And again, we see people, their first event, give them cups, we give them a big cheer. We know it's their first event and we say hi to them and we're friendly. By their fourth event, oh, they're here. They've always been here. And we forget to tell them, hey, you might not know about this tradition that happened 25 years ago, and this is why we do this thing. So the idea is we're going to do, when we can have events, newcomers corners, where we teach one thing. We do not have we don't have a gathering of 30 experienced people with 40 opinions, telling 5 newcomers and overwhelming them. But we explain one thing, and then the newcomers are free to ask any questions they want. And have that newcomers corner at as many events as possible. Now, in COVID times, that's kind of hard. So one of the things we were talking about is we just recently had a peerage roundtable on Zoom, and it was awesome. People asked great questions that we didn't think people needed to ask, but they were really intelligent questions once we thought about it. And it was incredibly positive, and people came away happy. We can do that kind of thing with newcomers. So we're thinking about doing a newcomers corner video chat. We're looking at the 3rd Thursday every month. We're going to look at starting it this August 20th. And we'll do it once a month. And because we have new people, we have people who've been in less than 2 years who don't understand everything about the game. So it wouldn't hurt to have a basic conversation. Let's talk about, customs and courtesy. Here's why we bow to the thrones. Here's why we say wassail. Here's how we do toasts at feasts. Here's some of the basic customs, and 10 minutes tops. And then if you have any questions about anything, it doesn't matter. And then newcomers feel comfortable talking about, well, why does that person wear a red belt? And hey, can I dress up as an Aztec? And all these great questions. So we're going to try it. We'll see how it goes. And if it works out well, we'll do it once a month.
That's a wonderful idea. My first, I want to say at least the first year that I was in the FCA, His Majesty Britannicus answered all of those questions for me every single time we drove home in the car. And
you must have left a good impression.
So, and sometimes he couldn't answer, and sometimes we reached out to, well, you and some other people that we know for those answers. So it's really exciting to have the newcomer question and answer period kind of things, the newcomers corner coming up, that people can ask those, especially in these downtimes. It's time to find out now.
Right. And the other thing that newcomers will be great for is giving us feedback on how we suck at making newcomers involved, because we are a very dense club. We have 1 million activities, which means we have 1 million little circles of people. Those people are off talking embroidery. Those heralds are off talking herald jargon. The royalty's walking around with their retainers. The people are working in the kitchen. There's all these little subgroups, and they're not isolated. People cross over all the time. But to a new person, it's like a Disney ride. You can't see everything on the first ride, and they have to kind of grab somebody as they run by and go, "I want to help." So if they can come back, like Penn and Lucia, the Baron and Baroness of Ramshaven, they're still relatively new. I think they're at 5 years in now. And we've had a lot of conversations with them, and they said, The first event was great. The third event was okay. The fifth event, we were driving home going, did we do something wrong? It's not like it was the first. And they gave me a lot of really good feedback on this is what we're good at, this is what we're not good at. And a lot of newcomers come in, and they come into an established group, like Efferwick or Ben Dunford, where an office comes up and 5 hands go up. A newcomer's going to find that really intimidating. Well, I don't want to go up against Duke so-and-so. Yes, you do. And if you apply, we want you to have that job because Duke so-and-so has had that job 5 times. He's just volunteering because no one else was. And we've had in Ben Dunford, we've had a couple new people, cautiously, put their toe in and volunteer. And that's how they get something to do. Everyone needs a purpose in the club. Everyone needs a basis to have conversations and friendships in the club, whether it's fighting or being a chronicler or what have you. Once you are doing something, it's easier to participate. So part of this is also getting newcomers involved, and newcomers should not be afraid to ask questions going, this is weird. Why do you do it this way? Why are people wearing Kyrgyz flashes and there's no Kyrgyz? Oh, well, let me explain. What's this Pennsic thing? Is it just like a camping weekend? No, it's a big deal. Or I volunteered and someone else got the job. Should I volunteer again? Yes. And or here's a job you can get that's not up for competition. You can be a herald at large. You can be a marshal in training. You can be a chatelaine at large. And you go up to the kingdom officer. Oh, it's a kingdom officer. It's scary. No, they'll hug you viciously and give you a job and run off giggling. So part of it is taking these newcomers and making them feel welcome. Now, one of the things, actually, let's talk about demos for a second. One of the things that experienced SCA people can do is when they do a demo, pick 1 or 2 things to showcase their demo. When you have a demo booth, don't have 20 things. Yes, it's great that you have embroidery and a set of Tudor garb and fencing and archery and a video going and 28 banners, and keep it simple. The more you put, the harder it is to catch somebody. And you can try. So when we've been doing the Fan Expo demos, we would have 1 day of fighting, 1 day of fencing, 1 framed scroll, 2 banners, and a set of chairs, thrones, like a presence that newcomers can come in and have a photo on. And that's it. That is literally, maybe a dummy with garb, maybe. But if you keep, and people looked at it when the booth is so empty. Yes, there's room for all the new people to stand in the booth. And you don't want 25 experienced Scadians there. You want to have 2, maybe 3, no more than 3. If you are a large crowd of people, and in between the rush, the newcomers coming, we tend to socialize. So we form a closed circle, and then newcomers don't want to approach the people who all know each other. So it's better to have less people and be overwhelmed. And if you have 10 people volunteering for a demo, have them walk around the con or whatever and hand out cards or say, come back to our booth. But in the booth, you only want to hit 1, 2, 3 experienced Scadians, and they should talk about one thing. And listen, just say, what are you interested in? And like we had one person come up and this middle-aged fellow, and he's like, I'm interested in chainmail. That's what you talk about. That's what he's interested in. Okay, we do chainmail. Do you wear chainmail when you fight? Yeah, but it doesn't really work because we're hitting each other with clubs. But this is what we do. Or somebody comes up. One of the LARPers came up to us at the Toronto Comic Con and went, "What's your point system?" We hit you in the head, and if you like it, you fall over. Wait, that's it? Yes, that's it. Tell me more. That person's hooked. Or somebody comes in and asks about medieval cooking. Hey, there's these starter books, if they want to talk about redacted recipes and what do you know about Sicilian cooking? Nothing. But I can put you in touch with someone who does. That's great. But let the newcomers drive the conversation. Give them 1 or 2 things to look at. Let them come up, be friendly, say 1 or 2 things, and then stop. And I know interviewing me, that might seem weird for me to say, but honestly, give them an opportunity to direct the conversation and then gush at them. If they come up to you and ask, can you tell me about fighting? Sure, there was this Penzic field battle, 1,000 and 1,000. You hear their feet shaking the ground and all the adrenaline. Yes, tell them your stories, absolutely. But wait for them to ask. Wait for them to be interested. And when people are walking by, giving you the side eye, going, who are these strange people? Smile, wave, gesture over if you want. If they keep walking, don't chase them. That's weird. If they're interested, they'll come back.
Consent is key.
What's that?
I said consent is key.
Yes. And if you're doing a fighting demo, don't just fight and fight and fight and fight and fight. Fight 2-3 passes and then stop, and then take your helmet off and give it to somebody so they can see how heavy it is, or let them hold the sword. Don't let them hit you. Don't let you hit them. But let them see. If you hand them a sword, they're interested. They'll take the sword and they'll go, "Oh, this isn't a foam sword. No, this is not a foam sword. This is awesome. Now can you tell me more?" And while they're holding your sword, they're not going to leave. And then you can talk to them. So it's important, if you're doing a fighting demo, fight 2-3 passes, stop, explain something. Fight 2-3 passes, let them hold something. Fight 2-3 passes, and you'll also last longer. And when you're fighting, explain things. If you hit someone in the leg and they go down to a knee, they don't know what that means. Here's why we're doing that. Here's why this person fell over. Here's why our swords are built the way they're built. And just take your time and practice. If you go to a demo and you walk away and went, "I scared everyone away. What did I do wrong?" Think about what you said or how you presented and try a different thing. We tried at the Niagara Comic-Con raffling off a helmet, and we said, "Just give us your card with your email address, and if you win the helmet, we'll reach you." And we tried to build a mailing list, like a business conference, and we built a mailing list of 400 people, and we sent out an email, "Hey, there's an event coming," and nobody listened. Nobody responded. It didn't work. Okay, let's not try that again. Let's try something different. But signing people up on Facebook as they walk by at a con did work. Or we tried, "Hey, we'll take your picture." And, everyone has their own camera. We didn't think it through. So practice what you're doing and see what works, and talk to the newcomers and say, "Why are you in the club?" And if they say, "Because I saw this and I was really excited and this person made me feel welcome," look back at what you did as a newcomer. If those people hadn't been patient with hyper teenage me, I wouldn't be in the club. If they hadn't had a demo in a park where I happened to be walking through, I would have never known about the SCA. And we all have that weird set of circumstances that put us here, that put us in the club. So it's worthwhile looking back and going, how did this happen? And what kept us in, and why are we excited about being in the SCA? And try to capture that for new people.
So I think, because we've done many demos together, because it's something that I'm very passionate about as well. I think it's key sometimes too to remember, gear your demo and what's in your booth to your target audience.
Yep.
Where when we do con demos, we tend to simplify it as much, and we focus on the fighting and
costumes
and the costuming, because a lot of people at cons like the costuming. But when we have demos like the Hastings demo, I believe they do a lot of, they've got a larger space and it's outdoors, and they do some crafts, they do some weaving, they have a display of that kind of stuff, because it's a little different. It's
more crafty. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And also send the right people. I did a university demo. I was invited to do a university demo, and I've done university demos for years. And I went out and did the university demo and went, "I am older than the professors. This is kind of creepy. I'm not the right people to be showcasing the SCA to university students." So when you're doing demos, send the right people. Send enthusiastic people that people will find approachable. We've tried at cons to grab Varys from Ben Dunford. He's 22 and likes fencing, and he's new and he's enthusiastic, and he might be a better approach than this crazy old guy who's really excited but still crazy old guy. So send the right people if you can.
So I think that covers most things. Is there anything else that you can think of? I mean,
So we're trying to build the newcomer page. We want feedback, we want input, we want articles. So if you're interested, please go to ealdormere.ca/new, take a look. If you see something you want changed or improved, absolutely. Reach out to us. We have a Chatelaine Facebook group where we talk about newcomers. If you're interested in being a Chatelaine, reach out to us. And also, if you're new, don't be afraid to reach out. We're all very excited to talk to you. And everything's kind of on hold right now, but it doesn't mean we can't be making garb, putting armor together, cooking. Like, I'm cooking weird German food right now because why not? There's no reason we can't be getting ready for when we can go back.
I think that's a wonderful point. And I'm just going to say it. Don't be afraid to reach out to myself either, or His Majesty, because we have always been really excited about helping get new people into this wonderful, fun organization of ours. And we will answer any questions. So I'm looking forward to your Newcomers Corners. So I might pop in so I can
that would be awesome.
Answer a question or two.
That would be awesome.
Well, I think, unless you can think of anything else to add, I think that's about it.
I think I've rambled quite enough.
You did wonderfully. Well, thank you so very, very much, Master Brand. And thanks for joining us on Ealdormere at Home.
Thanks for asking me.